The NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC and your daily reminder that the Reds are top of the league and top of the Champions League. And if not for a late, very controversial Barcelona win in what was the dumbest game of football played in the last 3 years, we would have won the group already. As it is, we will need 1 point against PSV to be certain of winning the group. Barcelona are home to Atalanta, which is a tough game, but they've got a significantly better goal difference than us. And they've scored a lot more goals than us. So assuming Barcelona were to beat Atalanta, we would need a point. Now, I've said all along that, we had qualified. We were at no risk of dropping out of the top 8. So therefore, I'd be in favour of just binning off the last 2 games. But clearly didn't bin it off last night. Arne Slot picks a strong team. Alisson does rotate in defence. He brings in Connor Bradley, brings in Jarrell Quansah, Virgil plays, and Costas keeps his spot after the weekend. Then in midfield, again, a bit of rotation. It's Gravenberch, Curtis in for Alexis, and Szoboszlai. And then in attack, it is Mo, Darwin off the 2 goals against Brentford, and then Diaz starting left wing, which I saw a lot of people complaining about certain aspects of the selection. The only thing that really bugged me was I just don't like when it's Darwin and Diaz. I just think it's a little bit too chaotic. I like Darwin and Gakpo as a pairing. I like Gakpo and Diaz as a pairing. I like Diaz and Jota as a pairing. I'm not as fussed on Gakpo Jota. It's a little bit one-paced and a little bit predictable at times, but it does work certainly better than the Darwin-Diaz combo does. But everything else was pretty much fine on paper. Arne obviously taking it seriously, wanting to go and get the win, and we got the win. We beat them 2-1. Mo opens the scoring. Really good work by Costas to win the ball back. Great pass by Curtis Jones. Early, accurate, perfect weight on it. Mo runs on and scores. Tremendous. Then they get a man sent off. Then they get their equalizer, which is just poor work from our fullbacks did not cover themselves in glory on that one. But then we get our winner through Harvey. It's a volley that he's done really well to control and keep it low. And it takes a huge deflection. Whether it's going in or not, I don't know. I haven't seen a conclusive angle. But when in doubt, put it into a pile of bodies and hope for the best. Frank Lampard scored many, many goals by just crashing shots into bundles of bodies and getting a big deflection. So no issue there. And obviously we went on to win the game then 2-1. 3-1 probably would have been a fairer reflection on the night. 2-0 in truth would have been a fairer reflection, but it is what it is. So with one game left and us needing a point to secure first place, which doesn't really make any difference. Like, there's no difference between finishing first and second, except that there is a little bit. It's a prestige thing. It's a prestige thing to top this group. In the first year of this format, there is a matter of prestige. And I think it will be important to Arne. I think he will care about it. I think there's an element of history here to be made as well. You win 8 from 8. Nobody can ever beat that. Teams can match it, but nobody can beat it. Now, they might expand it to you play 9 games, 10 games, whatever. But in this format, nobody can ever take that away, that you were the first team to do it and nobody's going to better it. So the historic element is something I kind of would lean into. You know how I am. I get nostalgic about things. I would like to see us go and beat PSV. I just think it's a really good marker to put down. Now, as somebody rightly pointed out to me last night on Twitter, and they're 100% correct, it doesn't mean anything if you then go out in the round of 16. So you've got to follow it up. You know, you've got to ensure that when it comes to the knockout stage, that you really do have a good crack at it. And we'd have round of 16, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and a final. So you're talking 7 more games in this competition after PSV, inclusive of the final. If we get there, we may not, but just to kind of get our minds around the task of getting through this competition and winning this competition. One last group game. Then we skip a round because we've qualified beyond the playoff. Round of 16, 2-leg. We would be seeded. We would be home for the second leg. There's no league protection, so we could play an English team in the round of 16 if that's how the draw came out. Then you have the last 8, the quarterfinals. Again, 2 legs, home and away. Then your semi-final, and then your final. Like, it feels like it's doable this year. When you start looking at the group, there's nobody that should really scare us at all. Because the top teams, that, you know, the normal top teams really aren't performing that well this year. So Barcelona, obviously second. They've now won 5 or 6 in a row after a bit of a shaky start, but their league form's been a bit questionable of late. Then there's Atletico Madrid. You'd fancy us to beat them over 2 legs. Atalanta, again, I'd fancy us to beat them over 2 legs. Arsenal, I'd fancy us to beat them over 2 legs. Same with Leverkusen, who we've already beaten in this competition quite comfortably. They lost last night. Inter would be tough. That's a very, very good team from a tactical point of view. Simone Inzaghi is a very good coach. But ultimately, we're a better team than they are. We've got better players than they do. We're better than Villa. We're better than Brest. We're better than Monaco. We're better than Lille. Then you've got Bayern. You know, they're still Bayern. They're a good team. They're not a great vintage Bayern team, but they are a good team with some very dangerous players. Dortmund, who've just sacked Nuri Sahin, they're average. Sacked Nuri Sahin after last night's defeat to Bologna. Juve, who love a draw, absolutely love a draw. So if you're not familiar with Juve this year, in the Champions League, they've played 7, won 3 and drawn 3 with 1 defeat. And then in Serie A this year, they're unbeaten. Through 21 games, they are unbeaten, but they've drawn 13 games. So 16 draws between the league and the Champions League this season. It's quite a remarkable achievement for them against 11 wins. Milan, we know we can beat. PSV, we're better than Club Brugge, we're better than Benfica, Sporting, Feyenoord, Stuttgart, we're better than all these teams. Then you get the 3 you might really be concerned about. Real Madrid, they've got 9 points so far and have lost 3 games in this competition, including to us. Man City have 8 points. 8 points. They've only won twice. Celtic are in between them. They're neither here or there. Then it's Dinamo Zagreb. And then it's PSG, who, if they lose to City tonight, there's a real chance that they go out. They'd have 1 game left. That game is against Stuttgart. Now, Stuttgart will know that a draw would be enough.
Connection, opportunity, possibility. It's what we all want. Spectrum has built a world where anything is possible, with products and services designed to work better together for a seamless connectivity experience. A connection to family and friends, a connection to education, and a connection to new opportunities. So there's no limit to how big we can dream. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
At Kroger, an annual Boost membership just got even better. Now you can choose from Disney Plus with ads, Hulu with ads, or ESPN Plus on us when you sign up. Plus, enjoy unlimited free delivery, double fuel points, exclusive offers, and free items. Sign up for a Boost membership today. It's an easier way to save, including new streaming options to relax with while we deliver your groceries. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
But if City win, City go to 11 points. If Real win tonight, they're playing Red Bull Salzburg, so they will win tonight. They would go to 12. Celtic are playing Young Boys of Bern. They should win tonight. That puts them to 12. That puts those teams out of reach of PSG. So they really would need to beat Stuttgart. And there's a chance they don't because they've been really bad. They've been really bad in this competition. There's nobody there to really fear. Arsenal Atleti would be tough games because of the style of play. Barcelona have a lot of attacking talent, and they've got some really good defenders. It's just that they're very inconsistent and unpredictable. Like last night's game was bizarre. They were 4-2 down with, I think, 11 minutes left. And they look like shipping more goals. And the goals they did give up were just atrocious. An own goal due to miscommunication between Araujo and Szczesny in goal. A very bad penalty given away by Szczesny. One that's nicely worked down the left, to be fair. The first goal was nicely worked for Benfica. The second goal is just horrific. Like, horrific between Szczesny and Alejandro Balde. Balde has the situation under control, heads it back towards where his goalkeeper should be, except that his goalkeeper has come herring out and clatters into him. Like a team that defends like that, we will absolutely torture. There's nobody to really fear. So there's 15 games in the competition this year, which means that the PSV game will be the midpoint. That's the midpoint of the competition if we get to the final. And it would just be a really good marker to put down that, we've gone perfectly through the group stage and we're the team to beat. Liverpool fans notice how Darwin Núñez helps Mo Salah look more threatening. Like, Darwin does help Mo a lot. Now, he also does deflate Mo's assist numbers, but he does a lot of work for Mo, which is, a very positive thing. And Mo clearly enjoys playing with Darwin. Virgil van Dijk has played down opposition praise. So at the weekend, Thomas Frank said we were the best team in England. And before last night's game, Bruno Genesio said we were the best team in the world. And Virgil has played that down and said, look, it only shows that we're on the right track. And he is right, because one of the reasons managers say this is it takes pressure off their own teams, or it explains away a defeat. So it's clever, but yeah, ultimately it doesn't mean a whole lot. Liverpool midfielder secures transfer away after 17 years with the club. Tom Hill has joined Harrogate Town on a permanent transfer after nearly 17 years. He's been on the books since under 6 level. One senior appearance in the 5-0 Carabao Cup defeat to Aston Villa when all the senior players were in Qatar. Yeah, good for him. Good for him. Hope he goes on, has a good career. Liverpool youngster scores 60 seconds into second start after formal injury is Callum Scanlon, scoring for Millwall on Tuesday night in a 2-2 draw against Cardiff. So good for him. Ben Doak looks set to stay at Middlesbrough despite recent bids. It's purely because the bids haven't been what we wanted them to be. If the correct bid had come in, he would be sold. But obviously we turned down a bid from Crystal Palace. So they signed Romain Eza from Millwall, and we turned down a bid from Ipswich. So they signed Jadon Philogene from Aston Villa. So, yeah, we'll just hang on to Doak, and hopefully he continues to perform well at Middlesbrough and his value continues to grow. What else? Let's see. There's a lot of praise for Harvey after last night's game, which is fair. Came on, made a good impact. Now, this lead story on this is Anfield. Harvey Elliott can be trusted and deserves starting 11 chance. No, he doesn't. He can be trusted off the bench. He hasn't shown he can be trusted to start. His 2 starts this season have both been quite poor. And where does he play? You're not putting him in the number 10 spot ahead of Szoboszlai because we lose an enormous amount off the ball. And Szoboszlai is absolutely integral to our midfield holding together off the ball because the double pivot doesn't have a tremendous amount of defensive solidity. So we need Szoboszlai in his energy and his running and his tracking and things like that. So he has to be in the team. And you can't roll out a midfield of Gravenberch, McAllister and Elliott against anybody other than Dross, or you're going to get absolutely pissed through. So no, and he's not going to play right wing because there's a fellow there who's, pretty good. So it's just unfortunate. And that's what I was talking about last night on Raw. There isn't a starting role for Harvey in this team. There just isn't. And it's why I would look at selling him. And it's why I think for his career, a move somewhere where he is going to start every game. Because Jurgen played him so much, you risk not just stagnation, but you risk real regression if he's playing as little as he has this season. And if there was a big offer out there from a Palace or a West Ham or whoever, it's definitely something we should look at taking. 100% of this. And something he should look at taking as well. Because if he goes to a club like that, let's say Palace decide in the summer, to sell Eberechi Eze, and they decide, right, the player we want is Harvey Elliott, and we're going to go Elliott and Sarr behind Mateta next season. And Harvey can take on the Eze role, or even the Elise role that they never quite filled. Like, look what that's done for those two players. How it's helped elevate their careers. That's the type of move that makes a lot of sense for Harvey. And it's the type of move that could get him, you know, a secondary move somewhere else, or get him in the England setup, which is obviously something he's talked about a couple of times. That's not going to happen if he's the 5th or 6th midfielder at Liverpool, or if he's the 7th attacker. And right now he is the 7th attacker, because you've got the starting three, Salah, Jota, Gakpo, and then you've got Chiesa, Darwin, and Diaz. He's not going to get ahead of any of those. And it's quite clear there's a top 4 in midfield, and then there's a gap. And it's him and Endo as the 5th and 6th. They're on about an even keel. There's just not going to be the minutes there for what he wants, for how his development needs to go. And from our point of view, if he's not developing and he's not playing a ton, his value is only going in one direction. His value will not hold if he's not playing. So if a good offer comes in, it's definitely a conversation that needs to be had. What else is there here? That pretty much might be it. Let's check in with Anfield Index. There is a piece on what Robbie Fowler had to say recently on contracts and different bits and bobs when he was talking to Ben Foster. There's a piece on Joao Quansah, who had a good game last night. And hopefully there's a couple of decent performances in a row. Hopefully Jarrell is going to get himself back on track. Piece on Elliott, piece on Curtis Jones. He went off injured last night. He slipped and seemed to overextend his groin and maybe bruised his plums or something. Maybe stretched plums is the injury that he has. That's what I'm going to go with. Curtis Jones out with stretched plums. There's a piece on Mo and the most recent landmark that he has hit. And then podcast-wise, there is a Stat Me Up. There is Arne Slot's press conference from after the game. There is a David Lynch podcast from immediately after the game, as well as a Gags Tandon show and a post-match Raw. So there we go. Right. That is me for the day, folks. I will be back tomorrow. Thank you to Guy for stepping in yesterday. I assume it was Guy. If not, thank you to whoever it was. And I'll be back tomorrow. See you then. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger. And future stronger you can get started now by saving $28 or more when you join today. You in? We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need to keep stepping it up. And you can work out your way on your time at any convenient location near you. Most open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 31st. See Home Club for details.